Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're here with Durthu and the Wood Elves, going to be taking on the Foul Skaven. So let's get to the army compositions. You can see battle already getting underway here. These Vanguard Sisters of Thorn mixing it up with some Direwolves here. The rest of the army, we've got Durthu, of course. Firebark Elders, who are quite good in this matchup. They're just a great unit overall with 70 melee defense, that resistance to fire, of course, and they do also have flaming attacks, which are great in this particular matchup against regenerating units. We've also got another tree man, a whole bunch of Eternal Guard. We've got the Wardens of Kithral, Regiment of Renown, Wildwood Rangers, a very good unit. Winterheart Guard, of course, and in the back we've also got the Loix Tricksters, Azurai Spear, Regiment of Renown. For my opponent, you already saw some Hounds there and some Hounds there. We've also got 2 units of Blood Knights, very good pick in this matchup. Skeleton Spearmen and Zombies in the front line with a whole bunch of Grave Guard, also a pretty solid pick in this matchup. And the leader of the Vampire Force will be none other than Vlad the Chad. So yes indeed, we're going to be having a clash of dads here as Daddy Durthu takes on Vlad the Dad, who is also a Chad. So let's see how they do. You can see balance powers somehow already in my favor, maybe because we've been able to deal with quite a few units of Hounds already. But Vlad's definitely going to have his work cut out for him here. He's going to be fighting uphill into the trees against a bunch of trees and healing trees nonetheless. You can see these Hounds are a little bit out of position here, so we're just going to charge them in the face with the Sisters of Thorn. Sisters of Thorn are a very good hybrid missile melee cav that also have some great support buffs, and because of their high physical resistance, they honestly won't take much damage in this fight. They should be able to clear out those Hounds very quickly, which is why you saw me earlier mixing it up with those Hounds there, because of course Sisters of Thorn, very good at that sort of thing, very good against opponents like cavalry and Hounds and things like that, especially if they don't realize that they're super good in combat. Then you can take advantage of a situation like that. Speaking of super good in combat, the Blood Knights actually came in and collapsed this flank here, and despite the fact that these Eternal Guards were braced, they got pummeled on that charge. Just goes to show how, despite the fact, even if you have anti-large armor piercing, decent melee defense, and a bracing bonus, you can still get taken down by heavy cavalry if you're low armor, low model count infantry like Wood Elf infantry is. But we've got some healing there. They were able to stabilize and stay in the fight. You can see the shambling hordes making their way up the hill here. And yeah, it's definitely going to be a rough engagement for them. The Durthu Death Star was good before, and now with the Regiments of Renown, it's even more scary in my opinion. But let's see, we've got Sternsmen here, zombies shambling on up the hill, and Durthu and his buddies about to get the main engagement underway. Looks like we've got some summoned zombies, or actually overcasting it to skeleton warriors. Gonna block up the Winterheart Guard here. Obviously, the Winterheart Guard with their great stats, 58 melee defense in particular, they're gonna take very little damage in this particular fight. Durthu comes forward and starts to beat down on zombies and Graveguard and things like that. Ooh, a brutal hit there, just cleaving through like 20 zombies. Meanwhile, we've got the Sisters of Thorn just kind of protecting in the back line here. We're going to also use these Loix Tricksters and the Wardens of Kithral as an auxiliary to help screen against these Blood Knights. We had a nice Penumbral Pendulum go down there and do some good damage from the Branch Wraith. And of course, Durthu getting that Sword of Death in a big blob like this is going to be devastating for the Vampire Counts units. You can see those zombies quickly getting drained away there. We've also unleashed a nasty Flock of Doom here, again, against all these high model count units, this big old blob of Vampire Infantry. It's going to be absolutely devastating. Sisters of Thorn clearing out more Hounds. They've pretty much taken all 4 units of Hounds down at this point, which is very cost effective for them. That's 2,000 resources versus, what, like 1,100 for the Sisters of Thorn. You can see the Blood Knights having to pull away on this flank because I'm screening out with the Wardens of Kithral and the Loix Tricksters. I'm going to have to use the Wardens of Kithral to fight these Graveguard, which is not the best, but the Wardens of Kithral just have such good stats. 51 attack, and right now they're sundered, but I think it's 50 base, yeah, and then 51 melee defense. They will do very well against Graveguard there. My opponent throwing down a huge Curse of Years, affecting a whole bunch of units in this pocket, but not affecting the Tree Death Star itself. You can see Durthu, the Tree Man, and the Firebark Elders all kind of fighting in this same pocket here. And holy cow, did you guys see that? That zombie just went for a ride. He went to space. I don't even know where he landed, but anyway, Blood Knight's going to be pushing up and around the flank here. They're going to try and find a home, but the issue with the Tree-Man Death Star in particular is that there's anti-large armor-piercing elves that the trees are sitting on top of, so the Blood Knights are really going to struggle to find a decent home. I mean, obviously, they want to try and get in here and deal as much damage to these tree units as possible, but the 70 melee defense of the Firebark Elders, I mean, even Durthu and the other tree men have good melee defense, so it'll be hard for the Blood Knights to make solid contact with them. You can see the bounce power starting to tip slowly but inexorably, and this definitely will be a grind-out fight, especially with all these Graveguard and zombies here. The Eternal Guard holding out very well, but they will get overwhelmed by sheer numbers there. Wardens of Kithral, though, such a cool-looking unit. Man, I love the Wildwood Rangers in the red color and with, like, the shields, especially. Very, very cool-looking units. But, yeah, the Loix Tricksters, on the other hand, the Regiment of Renowned War Dancers, kind of pulling around the flank. We didn't want to get involved with the spears there, so we're going to pop that Loix Shroud in just a moment and try and sneak up on these Blood Knights here. You can see the Blood Knights did get in on those Firebark Elders, but the Firebark Elders, between the healing and the fact that they have amazing melee defense and physical resistance, they just took basically no damage there. Another big old Cuirassiers going down, and another timing push from these Blood Knights here. Going to be trying to charge Durthu, it looks like. Durthu will take some damage, especially when he's getting attacked by Vlad, and because the Blood Knights are attacking him in the rear, they'll be able to get some okay work done. But, of course, I've still got the healing on station, and just dropping another massive Sword of Daith here that's going to just do an insane amount of damage to this huge blob of vampire stuff. And at this point, the vampires are definitely getting ground down, getting a bit closer, inching ever closer to that critical binding state. But yeah, we'll just keep soaking up some cinematics. The Branch Wraith going to be pulled into the back line to help protect against the Stearnsmen here. You can see Wardens of Kithral beat down those Graveguard and are now moving to beat down another unit of Graveguard. It is such a cost-effective unit, man. Definitely one of my favorite regiments of renown for the Wood Elves. I'm not the biggest fan of Wildwood Rangers normally, but these Wardens of Kithral are a very good unit. Definitely a very, very good unit. But anyway, let's soak up some more cinematics of the Firebark Elders and Durthu and the other tree man just slamming the ground here, shaking the ground, so to speak, and taking these vampires to Pound Town. You can see the Sisters of Thorn did come in just to kind of interrupt the Blood Knights and keep them pinned in this pocket with the anti-large armor piercing. You can see the Loix Tricksters have also got in here. The Regiment of Renowned War Dancers, another very powerful Regiment of Renown with the full-on 63 melee defense with the standard dance active. I mean, obviously you can activate the Storm of Blades to change that focus to more of an offensive focus, but still. You can see summon zombies trying to bog down the Loix Tricksters there, but they're super fast. They can run away and get up and around the flank, and they're going to come interrupt these Blood Knights one more time here on their charge. Blood Knights try to trot uphill, are a little bit slowed down by that. You can see the War Dancers will get tossed around a little bit, but anytime they get attacks, obviously they're going to be doing quite a bit of damage here. Blood Knights trying to come back, and another devastating Flock of Doom going down. Just the AoE blob-busting magics of the Tree-Men Death Star definitely play well into this style. You know, the Sword of Daith and the oh man, somebody's going for a ride. The Sword of Daith and the Flock of Doom, both very good at busting up huge blobs of vampire infantry. Upgraded Invocation, trying to keep all these vampire counts units online, but it's not going to be enough. You can see their critical binding state just about. A lot of them are crumbling. Even the Blood Knights are pretty close to crumbling as well. Vlad is at his healing cap, having been whomped on by Durthu pretty much this entire match, and Durthu is still only at about half HP, so, and not even close to his healing cap either. He's got a lot of cap space left. Still most of his cap space left, in fact. So yeah, it just goes to show how hard this matchup can be for vampires if they go with a you know, more anti-missile focused list and you take a Tree-Men Death Star list. It can be pretty one-sided. You can see I mean, obviously I was severely outnumbered there, almost 3-1, but just the amount of kills here on Durthu, 247, 153 on the Tree-Men. Eternal Guard racking up 114, not too bad at all. All the Eternal Guards started with 2, except for these guys only started with 1, so they did manage to get an XP chevron through the battle. 120 on the Winterheart Guards, 143 on the Wardens of Kithral by the end, and a lot of those are against Graveguard, which is not, you know, a pushover unit by any means. 74 on the Loix Tricksters, 138 on the Sisters of Thorn, and a full 60 on the Firebark Elders. So really only these 3 units of Eternal Guards, and even then 63 on these guys. So really just 2 units of Eternal Guards didn't get a lot of kills. And for my opponent there, Graveguard got some okay work done against the Eternal Guard, but then the Blood Knights really didn't pay for themselves against the trees, and obviously the Direwolves just got hard countered by my Sisters of Thorn. I think it's pretty clear that my opponent was expecting a more missile-focused build. Otherwise, he probably would have brought a Terrorgeist, because a Terrorgeist can actually be okay against the Wood Elf tree units. Unfortunately, the one unit that does have fire damage for the vampire counts, which is Hex Wraiths, are just a massive liability against the Wood Elves, because ethereal units aren't super good right now to begin with, and they just die so fast to magic damage. And of course, all tree units do magic damage, so you're not going to want to bring an ethereal unit against the Wood Elves, not to mention they have, you know, the Glady with magic missiles, and I think they removed the magic damage, or maybe the Swift Shiver Shards from the Deepwood Scouts still have magic damage, I think, but for the most part, you definitely don't want to bring ethereal units against the Wood Elves, so you really don't have any options with fire damage to take down. Granted, I also had the Firebark Elders there to help counteract, just in case there was any fire damage, you know, from Hex Wraiths, which I don't know who would be silly enough to bring Hex Wraiths, but anyway, very fun stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.